everyone, I hope you all are doing well today, and today we are going to discuss a very interesting article mentioned in the Harvard Business Review. Now this article is researched and written by Nigel Topping. The details are mentioned in the description box below, so you can check it out. And as you can see on the screen, the topic of the article is that, is your company ready for a zero carbon future? Now, talking about zero carbon and net zero carbon emissions, talking about climate crisis and climate change. Climate crisis is one of another pandemic that people are talking these days. We humans and the human activities are the major and I would say the main reason that has caused this climate crisis that has to be put into action and is a need of an hour for every individual to work on. Now, talking about zero carbon future, there are so many manufacturing companies, so many industries like transportation, aviation, railways, lots of industries, chemical industries, metal industries, who produce certain things that emits greenhouse gases, which contains a high level of carbon dioxide, which is extremely harmful not just for us humans but each and every species that lives on this earth and for the planet as a whole, for the environment. So it is a need of an hour to work on this. And when we talk about zero carbon future, it is not possible realistically to stop the production, to stop the innovations that the human race have created and transformed and evolved through the industrial revolution. We cannot stop those things overnight, but what the political leaders and environmentalists and renowned researchers have suggested, that has been also put into papers and dialogues during the summit by United Nations, especially during the Paris Agreement 2016, that every industry, every company can contribute while making efforts to reduce the carbon production by choosing the substitute options. For example, in terms of generating electricity, in terms of using electricity, we can always go for options of solar and wind that will not only save our costs but also will be helpful to contribute towards the zero carbon future for our earth, for our planet. Instead of using petrol and diesel vehicles, one can always choose to use electric vehicles that again will contribute towards the zero carbon future. So these are the small steps that every individual can take, but as a company, this article mentions how you can create those efforts and work it out for your own company, for your organization. So let's get started. Now, the very first point mentioned in this article is that align your company with the Paris Agreement. Now, this Paris Agreement is a legally binding international treaty which was signed by 196 countries in the United Nations Climate Change Conference, which was held in the year 2016 in Paris, France, of course. And the purpose behind signing this agreement is building policies and governance around taking actions to address the climate change, the climate crisis. Some of the parameters and criteria that were discussed in this conference was that saving and increasing the forest area in all the countries to capture the greenhouse emissions that are being produced by industries to protect the atmosphere. It was also decided to control the temperature and to not let increase by 1.5 degrees Celsius, to also make finance analysis and actions taking in mind, keeping in mind the climate crisis in the treaty, the Paris Agreement, to address the climate change. The second point mentioned in this article is to join the transformation initiative. Now there are a lot of transformation initiatives which are developed by the local governance of your respective country. I live in India, so there are a lot of policies that have been developed and created and are also being implemented by a lot of companies, industries, and as a country as a whole, to address the climate change crisis. So as a company, research on those policies that contributes towards addressing the zero carbon future, and contribute as a part of that policy, that agreement, as efforts from your organization, from your industries. There are also a lot of initiatives that are being implemented worldwide as well. So research on that. Try to evaluate your efforts. There are a lot of certifications available, like ISO. There is also a certification called EcoVadis. You can search it out on internet, which is a rating certificate that will evaluate your efforts of sustainability, that will be a part of contribution towards the climate change initiative. So try to research those certifications, to evaluate the progress, to evaluate your efforts, that are you trying to take the correct measures and actions to contribute towards these transformative initiatives or not. The third point is commit to it 100%. Do not try to hop on different initiatives while not completing the initiatives that you have first started. For example, if your company has decided that you want to generate your 100% electricity through solar and wind energy, then try to complete it and derive that efforts with 100% efforts, and try to get it evaluated through these certifications and see that are your efforts being 100% paid and are the result is positive or not, and then hop on to another initiative that contributes toward climate change, rather than starting one initiative, completing it at 40%, and then hopping directly to another two initiatives just to show that you have a portfolio of initiatives that contributes towards the climate change. Do not do that. Try to commit 100% on whatever initiative that you have begun, the steps that you have taken to transform and to contribute towards these climate change initiatives for a zero carbon future. The fourth point is review your industry groups. If you are a chemical industry, then try to review what actions your peer groups, your competitors are trying to take towards the climate change, because that will not only contribute towards the zero carbon future for our planet, but also it will give you a competitive advantage within your industry. So try to do some research and see what your industry competitors and companies are doing, because there has also been research done, and it is also mentioned in this article in the Harvard Business Review, that 70% of millennials today, and even generational Z, which we call as Gen Z, 70% of them today prefer companies who are also taking sustainable actions to protect the climate crisis, with the small efforts that they are taking within their industry. So if you want a young staff to be recruited, you definitely need to have a competitive advantage in terms of environmental and sustainable goals that you are addressing within your company. The another point is get smart on climate governance. When we say get smart on climate governance, is as a leadership team, you do not need to be good always, and prepared, but getting better at something is always more beneficial than already being good. because getting better requires a lot of change efforts, which always helps in evolving and transforming for better than already being good and perfect all the time. So as a leadership team, you need to do a lot of research, get some experts and consultants to understand what exact climate, what actions that you can take to contribute to the zero carbon future as a part of your company, to contribute towards your country and planet as a whole. So if you are not an expert, you do not need to be good all the times, but you can get better by outsourcing help, or you can get some experts, consultants to help you out to do some analysis on what initiative you can start it subjective to your industry, to balance the carbon emission, the greenhouse gases that your company might be producing that might be harming the nature. So get some experts, try to be better, have some change initiatives to transform and contribute towards the zero carbon future. So it all starts with leadership and better governance. The last second point is speak in support of climate policy. We all know the famous speech of the young Greta Thunberg, who spoke in the United Nations summit and silenced the entire, not just the conference room, the people that were present there, but the whole human race who were watching her online through videos, through the viral videos that went out after her speech. So always try to speak it up on the initiatives that you are implementing towards contributing the zero carbon future. It's not always about competitive edge and business benefits, but sometimes it's also about being humanitarian, which is also part of a corporate social responsibility. So whatever good efforts you are taking in terms of zero carbon future, always speak it out loud and communicate your purpose, that why are you doing it, for what, and how, what is your purpose of contributing, not just for the climate change, but also the micro purpose that you might have thought of starting a specific initiative that you have first started within your company. So speak it out loud, try to communicate the purpose to the people around, to your peer groups, to other industries, to the community around, so people can get inspired and can make the right efforts towards the climate change. I often say this to people around me, that we do not need to find places to go around nature to find peace for ourselves, but we are around nature, we are already around nature. We just need to do the right things to bring the peace within us, and it can only start by making small efforts, which I said initially, that switch certain things to for example, if you are driving a petrol vehicle, try to drive an electric vehicle, switch to it, plant more and more trees around you, try to bring more green surroundings around you. And these are very little efforts that we can create to save the environment, to save the planet that we are living in, and for us to develop and transform and evolve more and more, even in terms of industrial revolution. And that's it for today's article. I hope you got to learn some things out of this article, which was mentioned in Harvard Business Review and was informative for you to implement within your company. Stay tuned for many more interesting articles, stories, case studies related to management. See you next week.